some pundits like to say that, well, Obama took, unilateral measures and basically took down some of the guardrails in the executive branch in office and allowed Trump to kind of like swoop in and utilize them to, all his sort of heart's desire and his worst impulses. What's your opinion of that?
Well, I think that's true, but I don't think it's just Obama. In 1973, a historian named Arthur Schlesinger Jr. wrote a book called The Imperial Presidency, warning that presidents were seizing too many powers and knocking down the guardrails. And it's only continued in the 50 years since then. All presidents have done that in modern times. They're all headed down the road towards authoritarianism. Trump was going at 120 miles an hour. Biden may be going at 6 or 15 miles an hour, but he hasn't pointed the car in the other direction. They are still seizing more power for the executive branch. And that should alarm people, because whatever they grab will be available for the next one.
I mean, that's incredible, right? I feel like, the 8 years of the Bush administration, the time that I was coming up, and politicized me, and you could see the power grab. I mean, from the very, the apparatus that he used to even become president, and all that, and everything in Florida and the Supreme Court, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the rapid consolidation around an illegal war, around 9/11, the Patriot Act, et cetera. And it's like, we have not extracted ourselves from, if the war on terror is over, we haven't extracted ourselves from the apparatus that spies on its own people, that, like, what's been done since Snowden, right? I mean, like, what has changed truly since we knew all of our metadata and our, everything was being collected. So there hasn't been a ramping down, because I think you're right that at the end of the day, the executive branch is like, no, we kind of like that. I mean, it's bad and all, but we like it.
Yeah, and I think people overlook another aspect of government that we don't talk about as government ethics, but there's a saying in Washington that personnel is policy. And when you're standing in a room full of people who have come from big law firms where they only represented giant corporations and corporate executives and lobbyists and shadow lobbyists and people who have swung through the revolving door in and out of government, they are going to be very protective of institutional prerogatives the way Merrick Garland has, or the way this White House has been. And you don't have anybody willing to truly look at transforming government. And so, the rules are so incredibly weak. They are important, but they're not enough. And one of the concerns I have about the current administration is they refer to their ethics program as a compliance program. And I'll give them that is a huge improvement over Trump, because he wasn't interested in complying with anything. But they're complying with incredibly weak rules and want a medal because they're going around saying we're the most ethical administration in history. Well, I would argue that in many ways, when you're looking at just the strict government ethics program and not things like drones or other stuff, Obama had an administration that was more ethical than this one. And they're just striving to be better than Trump and want a medal for it. And we really are owed an ethical renaissance right now.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.